This right here is vindication. Welcome back to the channel, friends. I'm Alexis, and today we are celebrating because Judge Robert Hinkle has declared SB 254 unconstitutional. What's SB 254? Well, if you don't live in Florida, I can understand why you don't know that one. The important thing to remember here, the gender-affirming care ban, which is largely what SB 254 was, is no more. As I read directly from the final judgment, the certified classes and subclasses are the following. The first class consists of all transgender adults in Florida who seek gender-affirming treatment with puberty blockers or cross-sex hormones. The second class consists of all transgender minors in Florida who seek gender-affirming treatment with puberty blockers or cross-sex hormones and their parents. There's some additional stuff, including the names, I'm not going to go over because I don't need to add that. It is declared that Florida Statutes 456.52, Section 1, is unconstitutional to the extent it prohibits gender-affirming care for individuals who have reached or passed Tanner Stage 2, which I believe is a human development stage. I'm not a doctor. Florida Statutes 456.52, Section 3, is unconstitutional to the extent it prohibits a licensed individual acting within the scope of the license from 1. Assisting a supervising physician in administering or performing gender-affirming care, or 2. Filling a prescription issued or by a physician or, for adults, issued by a licensed individual acting within the scope of the license, or 3. Providing gender-affirming care to adults. So what's that mean? It means all the dancing around that we've had to do for the last year here in the state of Florida as adults to get gender-affirming care, to get HRT, especially if we've already been on it, just throw it out the window. We're back to the way things were in an informed consent state where we don't have to worry anymore about which type of doctor or which type of medical provider we're seeing. This order means the world to a trans person in Florida. There's no getting around that. This is life-saving. So many of my friends fled the state. I was going to flee the state. I did a whole YouTube series on how I was fleeing the state. And while mine was largely motivated by the driver's license issue, which is still kind of sort of an issue, the main driver for most people was the ban on trans-affirming care, on gender-affirming care. Knowing that you wouldn't be able to get access to your normal medical provider is heartbreaking for so many people. I lost my medical provider because they couldn't treat most of their patients and endured a whole bunch of issues as a result. Thankfully, I have a new provider, and they just so happen to have made an announcement of their own today. After the ruling, quoting here from an article by Watermark Online, after the ruling, Pineapple Healthcare announced that it would be resuming gender-affirming care for its patients immediately. Pineapple Healthcare stands firm in our dedication to providing inclusive, affirming, and comprehensive healthcare services to all individuals, said Ethan Suarez, CEO of Pineapple Healthcare, in a press release. If you follow me on social media, you know I just started with Pineapple Healthcare. And for the CEO to come out immediately, like the day of the ruling, and say, our doors are open, come get your hormones, effectively. Like, they wasted no time. And I am so grateful for that. I have an appointment on Thursday. It's just incredible to have this weight that has been bearing down on every single one of us in Florida, at least as trans people and the people that love trans people. We don't have to go through this anymore. at least until, the state undoubtedly appeals and we have to go through the, well, what's this going to do? It is the 11th Circuit. There's some complications with the 11th Circuit. They've overturned previous rulings that were transpositive before. But Judge Hinkle was prepared for that. And in his rulings, he laid out in the overall opinion that he wrote is 105 pages. This document that I have here is actually just the final judgment of 6 pages. And I'm going to get to some important stuff about it in a second, but let's keep in mind here, Judge Hinkle brought his receipts and made sure the 11th Circuit is going to have a hell of a time overruling him, and he's going down swinging if they try. We can't ask for better. We expect the courts to protect us and protect our rights, and Judge Hinkle absolutely did that today. So, before I go into the rest of the details here, thank you, Judge Hinkle. You saved a lot of lives today. We'll never forget that. So, we talked about what was declared unconstitutional. Here's my favorite line here. The enjoined defendants, which were previously listed, must not take any steps to enforce the provisions this order declares unconstitutional. The biggest problem of SB 254, apart from just the general concept, hey, we're banning gender-affirming care effectively, was the way it attacked doctors and created a culture of fear in the medical community here in Florida. Prior to the enactment of SB 254, over 80% of gender-affirming care was administered by nurse practitioners. And what SB 254 did was made that illegal. You had to be either a doctor of medicine, an MD, or a doctor of osteopathy, a DO, to be able to prescribe HRT. And as well as puberty blockers, but that's like a whole separate thing I don't know really much about because I'm almost 40. By doing this, most people lost their medical providers right away. But even more so, the providers that, like my previous provider, Spectrum Health, they offered my general care as well. And there were questions as to whether or not they could still help me. There were questions all around. There were plenty of stories of doctors dropping trans patients carte blanche just because they didn't know what they were allowed to do, what was defined as gender-affirming care, because it was just vague enough. Now doctors don't have to worry about losing their license and being thrown in jail for helping trans people. The chilling effect that we saw is gone, effective immediately. And that's how lives are going to be saved. So again, thank you, Judge Hinkle, for standing up for trans people everywhere. We deeply appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video was good news for you. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like and maybe consider subscribing. It really helps the channel grow. And we're so close to that 1,000 mark. Please help us get there. We'd really appreciate it. Till next time, have courage and be kind, especially to yourself.
Did I brush you off?